Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Soul Land 2 Peerless Tang Men based on novel. So let's start. Scorching dragon flames were unleashed by her first soul ring ability Dragon Fire. Dragon Fury was also unleashed at the same time. This caused Wu Feng to look like a ferociously burning piece of coal. Hui Yuhao was expressionless as he went to face Wu Feng's charge head-on. His right hand slapped forward quickly. It was still the Ice Emperor's pincer. The seemingly simple palm strike of his developed countless changes. While Wu Feng was impulsive, she wasn't weak. She was just like a weaker version of Ma Xiaodao. Her intelligence wasn't low even though she seemed very reckless. However, to her horror, she found out that she couldn't dodge Hui Yuhao's palm strike no matter how many transformations she underwent. She clenched her fists and punched them out towards Hui Yuhao's right palm. Something weird happened at this moment. Hui Yuhao's right palm suddenly disappeared, and Wu Feng's fists hit nothing but air. After she expended all her strength, Hui Yuhao's right palm seemed to reappear elusively and strike her fists. The sound that rang out suddenly seemed as if burning coal had been thrown into a basin of ice water. Steam rose up, while the red light on Wu Feng's body dissipated at a shocking speed. She couldn't use her third soul skill now even though she wanted to. A streak of golden light flashed and hit her from the side, and she was sent flying. This second consecutive strike was unleashed by Wang Dong. Wu Feng and Dai Huabin were tackled in different manners, and this was only a competition after all. That's why his guillotine wing didn't land on Wu Feng. Hui Yuhao twisted his head suddenly, and the purplish golden radiance in his eyes shone extremely brightly. A seemingly tangible ray of light flashed in his pupils before disappearing. Zhu Lu screamed in horror and instantly collapsed to the ground not far from Hui Yuhao. Fresh blood flowed from her mouth and nose. Dai Huabin's hopes of forcefully unleashing the Netherworld Tiger with her were dashed. Hui Yuhao's spiritual shock stopped that from happening. Zhu Lu had no chance of resisting Hui Yuhao's spiritual shock with her rank 29 cultivation. The more it was like this, the better they understood the benefits of participating in the Continental Advanced Soul Master Academy Soul Dueling Tournament, as well as the influence and change the closed-door cultivation had on them by enabling them to find their own paths. Zhu Sikhen, Cao Jinxian and the Lan sisters didn't look excited now. They were more stunned. As the four of them looked at one another before turning to Hui Yuhao, it wasn't just friendship that was revealed in their eyes. There was even a tinge of admiration. Hui Yuhao's spiritual detection sharing had had a magical effect on how they were dispatched. They just needed to unleash their soul skills and follow the rhythm and speed that Hui Yuhao provided them. Cao Jinxian was extremely awed, as he was a control-type soul master himself. This was true control. It wasn't just about controlling one's opponents, it was about controlling one's teammates too. With such a godlike team leader, he was even confident in fighting others above his level. The Lan sisters let go of the hairnet after Hui Yuhao gestured for them to do so and released Huang Chuqian, Kui Ji, and Long Xiangyue. Zhu Yi came beside Hui Yuhao and looked at the distant Mu Jin, who was in a daze. She wasn't excited, but proud. How could she not be proud with such a disciple? Teacher Mu, I hope that you and your students will take care of our level's hygiene in the future. If your students can't take it, don't bother challenging my class to a competition anymore. After she finished speaking, Teacher Zhu turned around, lifted her head and walked away proudly, whereas Mu Jin turned pale. Hui Yuhao revealed a slight smile on his face. He actually liked Teacher Zhu in this manner. Zhu Yi guided him with this temperament and strictness of hers. He could sense the passion behind her strictness. Although she was harsh on her own students, she was also very protective of them. Those who truly knew her wouldn't forget her. It wasn't just Zhu Yi who walked out of the soul dueling area with her head held high. The students from the entire class 1 also did the same. They were all feeling exalted. They didn't just win this competition. They won it beautifully. That exhilarating feeling made the students from class 1 tempted to rush into the venue and battle alongside their classmates. In a dark corner of the stands, the teaching director, Du Weiluan, was in a daze. Does he really only have 2 rings? Dean. Why do I not recognize this Hui Yuhao anymore? Yang Xiaozhe revealed a smile on his face. It's not just you who's surprised. Even the teachers are awed by his abilities. More importantly, this kid doesn't just possess talent. His desire to pursue self-improvement is even more outstanding. He will become a leading figure of the younger generation, if given another 3 to 5 years. I don't think he even used half of his powers when he teamed up with Wang Dong earlier. Du Weiluan was in awe. Fortunately, you fought for him. Otherwise, such a talent would have been taken by the Soul Tool Department. Yang Xiaozhe interrupted him with a sigh. I owe the Soul Tool Department a favor because of this. From this year onward, we shall allow the Soul Tool Department to choose our third-grade students and above once they pass the advancement examinations. This is provided the students are willing to go to the Soul Tool Department. We'll grant them permission to leave as long as they are willing to. Du Weilin was shocked. Dean, we'll lose many talents. Yu Hao, be careful. The owner of this voice is of the same level as the elder in the Sea God's Pavilion. Skydream Iceworm's voice was very stern. It wasn't just him. The Ice Empress and Electrolux seemed to have awakened too. Hui Yuhao could even feel a slight tension in his spiritual sea. At this point, a gentle white light surfaced and covered Hui Yuhao, Wang Dong and Xiao Xiao. Don't resist. I'll bring the 3 of you to the Sea God's Island. Yang Xiaozhe's voice rang in their ears. In the next moment, they felt as if they were flying among the clouds. It was all white around them. Ju Yi and the Class 1 students, who were around them, only sensed a white light flashing before noticing that the 3 of them had disappeared. Only Ju Yi was informed by Yang Xiaozhe. Everyone, don't panic, she said hurriedly, follow me back to the classroom immediately. Where was the safest place in Shrek Academy? It had to be the Sea God's Pavilion. Old Freakdo, it's you. Elder Xian's sonorous voice resonated above Shrek Academy at this point. A streak of bright, yellow light shot into the sky. That blinding radiance instantly covered the entire academy. In addition, a wave of immense aura came from within the academy. It shot into the sky like waves of billowing air. What a Shrek Academy! Are you going to bully us, because we're outnumbered by you? Let's compete then. Intense light and flame shot into the sky outside Shrek Academy. There were more than 20 beams of light within the flames, which didn't dissipate as they shot into the sky. They were led by a dark green beam of light that was extremely thick. This beam of light was large enough to almost cover the rest of the beams behind it. Elder Xian stood in the air above Sea God's Island. He continued to take a sip of wine and said coldly, What? Old Freakdo, are you planning to wage a battle against Shrek Academy? A figure slowly appeared from within the dark green beam of light. It was a huge old man. His dark green hair flowed freely behind his back. But the funny thing was that he didn't have hair on top of his head. He was bald. This elder's complexion was red and smooth like a baby's. He didn't have many wrinkles either. The only way one could tell his age was through the look in his dark green eyes. They seemed as if he had experienced the vicissitudes of life. The 20 or so beams of light behind this elder lined up and gradually revealed the figures within them. They took different shapes and sizes, but they were undoubtedly all top-ranked individuals since they could float in mid-air with their own cultivations. Over on Shrek Academy's side, figures also started to rise into the air. Many students looked into the distant sky from the windows of the teaching block. Their gazes were all stiff. Such a confrontation between top-ranked individuals was not something commonly seen. This was even the first time that the Inner Courtyard disciples had seen something like this. The Inner Courtyard students from Shrek Academy soon realized that there were more than 30 people from the academy in the air. They outnumbered the intruders and were led by Elder Xian. Elder Xian seemed neither anxious nor worried. He said indifferently, Old Freakdo, what do you want with this lineup of yours today? Your body sect wants to reappear in the continent and we're your first target. When the words body sect came from Elder Xian's mouth, some of the younger teachers behind Elder Xian looked petrified. No wonder the other party had intruded into Shrek Academy so fearlessly. They were powerful individuals from the body sect. Shrek Academy and the body sect were equally matched on the continent. The other party had their own history too. The elder with green hair that was called Old Freakdo by Elder Xian snorted and rolled his eyes. Little Xian, you're asking the obvious. Why? Have you forgotten what you've done? Elder Xian laughed. Forgotten what? Didn't I just lecture 2 rascals under you? Ask them what they did. They dared to attack me. If not for the fact that I was giving you face, do you think they would have returned alive? Old Freakdo snorted furiously. Nonsense, nonsense. You beat up my sect members, and you're still acting so upright. I won't let the matter rest. I want you to show me where your confidence is coming from. As he spoke, he roared furiously, and a thick dark green radiance shot into the sky. This radiance caused half the sky to be dyed a dark green color. His body ballooned in size and became 10 times bigger in the blink of an eye. His dark green skin turned into huge muscles, and only the shorts that he wore that covered his sensitive area survived. Of course, those shorts were custom-made. Otherwise, they would have been torn apart by his expanding body. The most frightening part was still his soul rings. There were 2 yellow, 2 purple, 2 black, and 3 red soul rings. He had 300,000-year soul rings. Once he unleashed his martial soul fully, he almost crushed the air with his arrogance. Elder Xian turned serious and roared too. He shot up into the sky, and an intense yellow radiance was released from his body. An overbearing aura erupted, and the dense yellow radiance supported the sky above Shrek. Yellow and green were clearly separated in the sky high above. However, Elder Xian's soul rings were slightly inferior to Old Freak Du's soul rings. He had 2 yellow, 2 purple, 4 black, and 1 red soul ring. But he only had 100,000-year soul ring. This also signified that he needed to have at least 2 more 100,000-year soul bones than Old Freak Du. Elder Xian experienced huge transformations too. Under the light of the yellow radiance, he let out a deep groan in the air that forced the individuals from the body sect to retreat 100 meters. Elder Xian's appearance changed completely as the intense yellow radiance spread. He had the body of a sheep, and his eyes were below his armpits. He had the teeth of a tiger and human hands. A pair of huge, weird horns appeared too. His body was more than 30 meters in length, and he even seemed stronger than Old Freak Du. The intense yellow radiance continued to advance, and the 9 soul rings turned into circles of light that moved up and down between the huge horns that were around 5 meters in length. Hu Yuhao and the other 2 had arrived outside the Sea God's pavilion through Yang Xiaozhe's guidance at this point. Yang Xiaozhe was worried as he watched what was happening above him. He said to Hu Yuhao and the other 2, "Enter the Sea God's pavilion quickly. Don't come out no matter what. Do the 3 of you understand?" "Yes." The 3 of them answered him hurriedly. They were all shocked by what was happening. This was also their first time seeing Elder Xian unleashing his full abilities. "Don't bother entering the pavilion. Just watch from the door." A gentle voice sounded and was heard by Yang Xiaozhe, Hu Yuhao and the other 2. Yang Xiaozhe heaved a sigh of relief as he heard this voice. After bowing in the direction of Sea God's pavilion, his toes touched the ground, and he changed into a white light that instantly rose into the sky. As the Martial Soul Department's dean, how could he be absent when Shrek Academy was under attack? The gentle voice undoubtedly belonged to Elder Mu. Hu Yuhao and the other 2 were naturally safe from danger since Elder Mu was around. Wang Dong said softly, "Elder Mu, it should be a martial soul true body that's just been unleashed. It's something that can only be done with at least a 7-ringed cultivation. It seems very strong. But why is that green giant in a human form? Did his martial soul come from some type of ancient giant?" Hu Yuhao naturally couldn't answer Wang Dong's question, but Elder Mu could. Elder Mu's gentle voice rang out again, "What you're seeing is not just a simple martial soul true body anymore. It's a powerful force that's revealed when soul power, that's at least rank 95, is injected into a martial soul true body after a fusion of one's pure understanding of his martial soul. It's a technique that only a transcendent Doluor can use. That person is called Dubuzi, the sect master of the body sect. His martial soul is himself. Body sect. Don't tell me." After hearing the words body sect, Hu Yuhao was shocked. He also remembered what had happened to him in Star Luo City. The entire sky changed because of their battle. One side was dark yellow, while the other side was a domineering dark green. They both occupied one half of the sky. At the point where they intersected, they surged as Elder Xian and Dubuzi fought. This was an extremely frightening duel. Elder Xian's godly Daotai bull burst forward in mid-air. The yellow radiance behind him struck towards Dubuzi. The dark green giant converted from Dubuzi sprinted in the air with huge steps. He was fearless as he went straight for Elder Xian. The 2 of them collided in mid-air amidst reverberating booms. At this point, both Shrek Academy and the body sect cultivators that were in the air initially all descended rapidly. They returned to the ground. A frightening pressure was exerted from the sky, and it only disappeared when one was around 100 meters from the ground. This was a result of intentional control by both parties. After all, neither side wanted their own people to be struck by the aftermath. It also seemed like Dubuzi had no intention of fighting Elder Xian to the death. Even so, Hu Yuhao, Wang Dong and Xiao Xiao still shook as they stood on the ground. They turned pale too. It was as if the sky was collapsing. Was this a duel between top-ranked individuals? Human strength was actually able to reach such a frightening level. Hu Yuhao was completely shocked. Before today, he hadn't expected a Soul Master's strength to reach such a standard. This was already beyond his understanding of what a Soul Master was capable of. He had witnessed the top-ranked, six-ring Soul Emperor cultivations of Ma Xiaodao and Dai Yueheng before. While they were much stronger than him, he could still see the gap between him and them. But the abilities that Elder Xian and Dubuzi displayed were beyond his understanding, such that he couldn't appraise them at all. He couldn't even sense the presence of their levels. Elder Mu's voice didn't resonate again. Neither did he explain anything to them. He left the three of them staring into the sky silently. He left them outside and didn't allow them to enter the Sea God's pavilion, because he wanted them to watch this earth-shaking battle. Such a huge battle was rarely seen on the continent. To young Soul Masters, this was also an extremely valuable experience for them. Dubuzi, the sudden collision of Elder Xian and Dubuzi in mid-air caused the sky to blow apart, as if fireworks had been ignited. The dark green radiance behind Dubuzi formed a huge whirlpool-like patch in the air. The yellow radiance behind Elder Xian instantly formed countless huge circles of light. After that, they changed into a huge meteor shower that struck towards the whirlpool-like patch. Hu Yuhao had seen many meteor shower-type soul skills. The strongest that he had seen Ma Xiaotao's Phoenix Meteor Shower, and Dai Yueheng's White Tiger Meteor Shower. But those meteor showers were soul skills that imitated meteor showers. They only covered a few hundred square meters at most. But the meteor shower that Elder Xian unleashed was truly mighty. It engulfed the entire area and was boundless. It was as if the sky was being torn apart. But Dubuzi was very powerful too. The huge, dark green whirlpool-like patch formed a funnel-like shape and allowed the meteor shower to strike it. The yellow light disappeared as it entered the funnel. The two of them were at a stalemate right now. The green giant formed from Dubuzi used its hands to grip Elder Xian's horns tightly. While both competed to see who was better, neither could gain the upper hand over the other. The lights on their body also alternated between brightness and dimness, while their bodies were half still. Streaks of black light flashed past their sides. The light of stars could be subtly seen amidst the black light. They were spatial cracks. The longer they fought each other, the more frequently the black lights appeared. A black circle soon formed around them and began to expand outward. Dubuzi, you're really mad. Elder Xian's voice rang in the air. Dubuzi laughed loudly and said, you're the mad one. I don't want to die with you. Let go and we'll go again. You're looking for death. Dubuzi raged and flipped his hands. He mimicked a lifting action, while the dark green whirlpool behind him retracted. It was rapidly gathered within his body. The dark green of his body also started to turn transparent, and his size increased even further. His height reached more than 100 meters instantly, and a similar black from earlier appeared around his body. It was smaller than the spatial cracks created by him and Elder Xian earlier, but seemed denser. Elder Xian seemed awed, and the yellow radiance behind him also retracted. His godly Daotai bull's size also ballooned and instantly turned into an extremely domineering presence. Dubuzi glared at Elder Xian furiously. His hands suddenly mimicked a wrenching action, as if he were smashing something onto the ground. A huge dark green ball of light, with diameter of over 30 meters penetrated through space, and crashed down towards Elder Xian from above. Elder Xian didn't cower away either. A white light that shone as brightly as a diamond flashed between his horns. It stabbed into the dark green ball of light, like a bolt of white lightning. A piercing boom resonated for more than 1,000 miles, and the dark green light ball turned into a light ring that dispersed in the sky. Dubuzi snorted and clasped his palms together. The space around Elder Xian suddenly started to distort, and dark green lights appeared around his body like smudged stains. Several huge black holes started to appear too, and the frightening spatial cracks were seen to be trying to tear Elder Xian's body apart. Elder Xian grunted in disdain. The bright yellow radiance turned into a barrier of light that burst out. The black holes were all mended just like that. Dubuzi was slightly shocked. Mending the sky, what a move. Little Xian, you're indeed worthy as my opponent. But you're still lacking a little. Dubuzi absorbed all the dark green back into his body. As he spoke, his eyes suddenly lit up, and an azure light shone from his entire body. The intense light shone unprecedentedly brightly, and made him seem like an azure-green sun. The entire Shrek city below was covered in this azure-green light. Dubuzi shouted, and the dark green whirlpool in his hand turned into a ball of light that shot out. The ball of light shrank as it moved in the air. It left deep gorges in the air as it moved. It was as if its presence couldn't be tolerated in space. Elder Xian bellowed, and his muscles swelled. His entire body seemed to have distended, and he wielded the chicken drumstick weapon to tackle the dark green light ball that came his way. When both parties collided, the dark green light ball stuck onto the chicken drumstick and instantly seemed to stagnate. An immense pressure suddenly descended from the sky. The powerful individuals from Shrek Academy and the body sect teamed up together to unleash a powerful aura. Many colors mixed together to form a light barrier that resisted the frightening will that came down. A crisp sound resonated in the sky. There was no release of any frightening force. The dark green light ball and Elder Xian's chicken drumstick disappeared at the same time, while Elder Xian was sent flying as his body was stained dark green. It was obvious that he had been struck. Dubuzi was extremely delighted and laughed. Little Xian, your soul rings are weaker than mine even if your cultivation is the same. I even possess a special body soul. You're still inferior to me in terms of your level. Concede defeat. If not for the fact that I'm afraid I'll lose an opponent like you, I would kill you now. Elder Xian only stabilized his body after flying for more than 1,000 meters. It seemed as if nothing great had changed after the dark green subsided. Even his aura remained very powerful. However, his eyes revealed his greater impatience. Dubuzi, stop sugarcoating your words. Do you dare to fight to death with me? I'll bring you along with me even if I die. At least I'll make you unable to provide for yourself. Dubuzi snorted, why won't I dare to? I'll at most be heavily injured if I kill you. You're still not powerful enough to make me perish along with you. But don't forget that this is Shrek's territory. If you fight to the death with me here, I'm afraid that Shrek Academy will disappear from the face of this continent. Elder Xian's expression changed. I dare you. There's nothing in this world the body sect is afraid of doing, Dubuzi said arrogantly. Don't tell me you've forgotten who started the wave of beasts in Star Doe Forest. Elder Xian was furious. Shameless fellow. You still have the cheek to mention that incident. I don't think you find it a humiliation. Rather, you treat it as your glory. Many people lost their lives because of the body sect. If Shrek Academy didn't resist the wave of beasts, it would have been a full-blown massacre. Dubuzi groaned and said, what do you mean Shrek Academy resisted the wave of beasts? It's as if you're hinting we didn't do anything. Don't forget what the body sect promised after the wave of beasts receded. Elder Xian said coldly, are you reneging on your promise by coming here so boldly today? Dubuzi replied, promise. So much time has passed. I don't remember anything. Even if I renege on my promise, what can you do? Elder Xian twisted his lips and said, I never expected that you'd become so shameless. While he spoke in this way, he was shocked in his heart. Dubuzi's words seemed to foreshadow the appearance of the body sect in the world. In addition, they were likely to have a ploy. Dubuzi said, all right, we've already fought. The body sect and Shrek Academy still have some ties. We're not here to target Shrek Academy. I'm here today not just to demand an explanation. There's something more important. If you return our body sect member, I will turn around and leave immediately. Elder Xian snorted, what body sect member? I don't know what you're talking about. Dubuzi's expression changed greatly after he saw this scene. See God's light. How is this possible? How is there still someone who's able to unleash the Sea God's light in Shrek? Buzi, it's been a while. It seems like you've forgotten about me. The gentle voice rang out once again. But only Dubuzi could hear it. You are. Dubuzi was shocked as he looked at the shining, golden Sea God's pavilion. His dark green forehead instantly started to glimmer with beads of perspiration. I can still remember what you left for me, Elder Mu said slowly, your brother has the same temper as you. Recklessness is the devil. If your brother wasn't reckless then, he might still be alive now. Dubuzi confirmed his guess when he heard till this point. He was stunned as he asked, you aren't dead yet. How is this possible? Didn't you? Elder Mu replied gradually, if I'm dead, you'll bully Shrek Academy. His words were simple, but they struck Dubuzi hard. The intense, golden light instantly flashed in the air and Dubuzi's dark green body shortened by a meter. An intense, dark green radiance was also emitted from his body. Dubuzi was a little vexed as he said, Dragon God Doluor, the battle then wasn't simply about personal feelings. Why did my elder brother have to take a step back? You know the full details of what happened. Elder Mu replied, I won't debate it with you. You just need to know that the master of the Sea God's Pavilion is still me. I've already asked Hu Yuhao and told him about the body sect. He expressed his will to remain in Shrek. Please return. I won't hold today's matter against you on account of your brother. But if there's a next time, or if the body sect tries to scheme against this disciple of mine in the future, don't blame me for demanding an explanation from the body sect personally. Dubuzi's expression changed. That fellow has become your disciple. Elder Mu answered coldly. That's right. Why? Do you think that you're more suitable than me to guide him? Dubuzi took in a deep breath. Dragon God Doluor, I shall give you face and let the matter rest. An honest man doesn't deal underhandedly. I must also tell you that we won't give up on this kid. You're older than me, thus you should know that we're almost reaching our end. But the body sect still doesn't have a successor. Elder Mu was a little stunned. Why don't you have a successor? Isn't the body sect's seed of inheritance on you? Dubuzi was a little vexed as he explained, but no one new has appeared in the sect for almost 20 years. Furthermore, do you think that the seed of inheritance can just be passed on to anyone? I shall end it here today. I won't touch that kid as long as he's in Shrek Academy. But once he's out, we'll compete fairly. Dragon God, I don't believe that my elder brother didn't leave anything on you even though you're still alive. I'm not your match, but you'll still pay the price even if you kill me. The body sect isn't the only opponent of Shrek Academy either. We'll meet again someday. After he finished speaking, Dubuzi's dark green radiance flared up and burned a hole in the sea god's light. He waved his hand after he escaped, body sect, retreat. The 20 or so figures he had brought with him escaped rapidly and disappeared in an instant. The golden light in the air also retracted slowly back into the sea god's pavilion. It was not only the Shrek Academy that was restless now. All of Shrek City was also drowned in a commotion over what had happened earlier. Elder Xian landed in the sea god's pavilion. The 4 deans also arrived. Elder Mu's voice drifted out from the sea god's pavilion. Xiaozhe, go and appease the people in the city. The rest of you can return. Little Xian, bring the 3 kids in. Yes. Yang Xiaozhe acknowledged his words and left immediately. Shrek City was still Shrek Academy's territory. It was also the foundation of Shrek Academy. All that had happened earlier was too strange, and someone had to handle the situation. Hu Yuhao, Wang Dong and Xiao Xiao hadn't recovered from their shock yet. Elder Xian looked a little dismal. It seemed as if he was unhappy that he had been suppressed by Dubuzi. He brought the 3 of them to the Sea God's Pavilion's 2nd level. Elder Mu lay quietly in his chair. He appeared as frail as ever. Who would have expected that he was the one who had chased the entire body sect away, Elder Mu? Elder Xian was a little depressed as he greeted Elder Mu. Elder Mu smiled and asked, why are you depressed? You didn't lose. It's nothing to be repressed by Dubuzi. If I wasn't fortunate, I would have died along with Dubuzi's elder brother. Even though I preserved my life, I'm still disabled. I may not be much stronger than you even if I fought. Part 1 end here.